Good evening, friends. We are live, and it is day 79 of 100 days straight of live streaming. It's also what is it? I need to look real quick. Day 8 of 30 days straight of live streaming with a challenge with StreamYard every day in April. So our 100 days becomes 102, but we want to jump right into it and share with you today something that I thought was very interesting, some nuggets that I think was put out there today, and in many ways, it's what I've been saying, not in the same words necessarily, but the title of this episode is "You Do You," or "You Be You." You do what works for you, and you'll know why I titled it that way in just a minute. So actually, we're going to get right to it. I'm going to share basically a quote that I found second or third hand today. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, let's share this. So this quote was on Kevin Kolb's Facebook story today, and I saw it. I'm friends with him, and I was glad that I happened to see it. It's a quote from Dan Courier. Dan Courier and Dan, I hope I'm saying your last name right, and Kevin, I hope I'm saying your last name right. Seen both of these guys numerous times, live streams, pre-recorded videos in the live streaming community out there in the YouTube community. So I appreciate the fact that they're sharing this out to everyone. It's my understanding I sent Kevin a message on Messenger asking him where Dan had put this out there, and he said he thought it was on Ross Brand's Facebook group, I think. So Ross, thank you for having Dan, I guess, in that group where he could share it. But I'm just going to read this and then give a little bit of editorial commentary on it in a good way. There's no negative spin on this for me because I think it's 100% gold, and I completely agree. So Dan says, I wish live streamers would stop trying to make their live streams look and feel like TV. People get lost in the weeds trying to look the part when it's the value. That's the key right there. When it's the value that is most important. Feeling and looking human is okay, and it's not a failure of a live stream when you appear human and imperfect on camera. Don't lose sight of the importance of the connection. That's the second piece of this that's important. Of the connection opportunity that live streams provide. Make it less, hey, look at how professional this live stream is, and more about connecting with your audience on a personal level. So there's three elements of this that I would argue I've talked about numerous times, just in different words and maybe a little bit in phrasing it a little bit differently. But the first is, provide value, bring value, not necessarily the most highly produced live stream that you could imagine. The next one is be human, make a connection, right, with people. And then the third one is, you want to connect with your audience, again, at a personal level. So I'll be the first to say that I talk all the time about how to level up, if you will, your live stream, right? How to go to that next level. What I will never tell you, though, is you must go to that next level. And the next level for you may or may not be what the next level is for me. And it should always be driven, in my humble opinion, by what you truly want to do, what you truly want to improve upon, and not because you feel it's necessary to be successful or, to be hip and all the different things. Now, you're certainly and obviously free to, take pointers, if you will, or take, cues from a production that's maybe highly produced and want to replicate that in certain ways, get some of the same kind of looks. Obviously, if you can, if you have the budget for it, if you want to do it and you see the value in it, if you want to have better lighting, if you want to have a better camera, better audio, all those kinds of things, then certainly Dan, Kevin, myself, many other people can help you with equipment that will help you do that, software that will help you do that. I use StreamYard to live stream. It's a great tool. A lot of people in that community. I know Kevin is in that community. I think Dan uses StreamYard at times. I'm not 100% certain. I know Ross does. So the driver should be that you truly want to do some of these next level things, quote unquote, because you see value in it, and it's, would hope, as long as it's not first for you, that it will not only benefit your audience but benefit you. So make it about things that you want to do next to improve your production value because you think it's important. And I'm actually going to show you one thing tonight that could be something that you choose to use to improve your live stream or make your live stream easier. Not better. I won't say that, right? Again, I believe that quality in content, if you had to focus on one thing, quality in content is certainly more important than quality in quote-unquote production value. In other words, how polished you are in speaking, how polished your background is, and all the things to progressively try to make your production, quote-unquote production, better. Obviously nothing wrong with that, but what will hinder you, I believe, I'm sure Dan would agree, Kevin probably would agree, Ross would agree, is what will hinder you is if you're so focused on quote unquote getting to that next level and looking at someone that has arrived as the gold standard. For one, you don't really know in many cases what it took for them to get there, what their background was. Maybe they were already in TV, maybe they were already in radio, maybe they had all kinds of things that make it easier for them to it looks at least like it's easier for them to do what they do. Anyway, really the point is to please, consider the fact that you don't have to do what someone else is doing to succeed. And here's the one other thing that I've actually mentioned a couple of other times in the past, and I 100% truly believe this, is success is not what I define for you. I can't define or should not attempt to or should not presume to be able to determine what success is for you. You get the privilege of determining for yourself what success is. And I would also hope that definition of success most likely will change over the course of your life. You'll have your dreams and things that you want to do will probably change over your lifespan. You want to do one thing at one point in your life, you want to do something else another point in your life. This is a really interesting point, what I'm about to say. I would really be interested in your thoughts on what I'm about to say. So Peter McKinnon, which if you're in the YouTube world, you probably have heard his name, maybe seen some of his videos. Great content as far as I'm concerned, but he does a podcast with one of his best friends, and I can't say his name, or it's not coming to me, but I watch his friend's stuff all the time as well and enjoy most of it as well. But basically the topic was, and I think it was a kind of a catchy topic to allow them to discuss something more, something deeper. but basically the title was something along the lines of, should I do another tutorial, right? Or demonstration. And what they mean by that, in other words, should I do another video that shows you how to use Photoshop to create a thumbnail for YouTube? And that's just an example. And I think the larger picture, or the deeper conversation that they wanted to have, and I honestly didn't even watch the whole thing. I wanted to go back and watch it, or I will. I think the deeper conversation was, should I do that video that I really don't want to do, but it will do really well on YouTube? As a creator, I'm tired of doing tutorials. I don't want to do anymore, but they seem to be a measure of success. They seem to be able to help me get where I want to get. Although I hate them, should I do them anyway? And for Peter, at least, the answer was no. I want to do what I want to do. Now, I've got a couple more things, and I want to kind of talk this through a little bit more, just to share my thoughts. Again, I think Peter McKinnon's a great creator, so anything I say should not be thought of as a criticism of him, just an interesting couple of thoughts that I've had. First one is I think it's perfectly fine for you to choose, and people do it all the time, doing things that they don't really love to do or want to do because there's something that they want to achieve. Now, you may not want to mow a lawn, for example, but if you mow that lawn and it helps you accomplish a goal that you want to accomplish, and if it didn't somehow go against your moral compass, if you will, then, in the end, it was your decision to mow that lawn. So, no harm, no foul. If you regret it later, then you regret it later, and you learn from that situation. So let's bring that back to YouTube in this particular case. If creating tutorials is what the audience that you've kind of accumulated wants to see from you, and you're willing to give it to them, even if it's not something you're super interested in, then you get to choose. You can make it even though you don't like it, or you can choose not to make it. In either case, we just have to be real and be honest and say we're going to accept the outcome of that. The outcome in one case might be, I'm not super happy about this, but it provides for my family, for example. It brings an income, and there's nothing wrong, honestly, with saying, well, I'm able to generate an income greater than doing something that I love to do. If you choose to do that, then that's totally up to you. And if you choose not to, completely would support that as well. In other words, the point is you get to choose. Now, the interesting part from my perspective about this, and then I'm going to get back to the original point for a brief moment that came from the quote, but the interesting part about this is I've never actually heard Peter McKinnon say this until after he's got, millions of subscribers. So I'm curious if he had that mentality and that thought from the very beginning when he had 0 subscribers, and it would be perfectly fine if he did, but is he now only sharing those thoughts because he does have an audience that will come, and he knows he has an audience that will come and watch anything he does because they now are comfortable with Peter McKinnon and actually care more about Peter McKinnon, the person, than they do the content that specifically that he creates. So in other words, and that happens over and over again, whether it's in acting, whether it's creators, whether it's those that do sports, boxers, whatever. As you become more successful, you can be more selective, but you can also be more selective before you become successful, but you may not be as successful otherwise. You may be as well. The point I'm making is it's hard to know when you just hear a very successful person, talk about, hey, I'm just going to create what I want to create, and you should too, for example. Then it's hard to know, would they have said that 5-6 years ago when they were just getting started out? Anyway, it's an interesting process, an interesting thought, but I will say I do agree. I do agree that if you want to create something, some kind of content on YouTube, you should absolutely do it if you want to, but also just be realistic and tell yourself it may or may not be as impactful in the numbers sense as something else. You do a video, for example, on cryptocurrency, which I've done a couple of those over the last couple of days. Maybe 5 people will watch that. Maybe they'll also say, why is he talking about cryptocurrency? He normally talks about live streaming, so forth and so on. I personally think there's some unique parallels, or maybe not parallels, but some unique intersections between cryptocurrency and tech and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of interconnectedness and things that will merge, if you will, and come together, where the crypto currency and crypto technology with regards to NFTs and all the things surrounding that will intersect with live streaming and audio and any number of other digital creation forms. So I think there's some relation there. So I did the videos, and NFTs, non-fungible token. You'll have to go watch the episode last night if you want to know more about that. And cryptocurrency like Dogecoin, Ethereum. I'm now looking into Cardano, lots of different things that interest me. It intrigues me. So maybe to the detriment of the growth of my YouTube channel, to the detriment of, or with the possibility of losing people from my audience, I chose to do those videos. I don't think twice about it. I'm not necessarily treating my YouTube channel 100% strategically like the experts would say, or many of the experts would say you should in order to succeed. Again, they won't always say that. Maybe they actually believe it in many cases, but as I mentioned, success is something you get to define, not anyone else. A successful YouTube content creator doesn't get to tell you what success is for you. For them, it might have been 1 million followers, 2 billion watch hours, a merchandise that they're selling, all the things, all that stuff's amazing, great, fine. There's no jealousy there, I promise you, from my perspective, but that's not for everyone. Not everyone's looking for that. Some are, some are not. So you get to define success. You get to determine for yourself. And so to bring this all back full circle, and then I do want to talk about one other thing, so hang with me tonight. Appreciate everyone joining. This may be a little bit different live stream than normal, but I hope you're getting something out of it. Bring it back to Dan Courier's comment. I do think that there are a number of those that are teaching us or trying to teach us, if you will, out there. This is what you need to do if you want to succeed in live streaming. Again, I'm not saying that they're wrong or that they're right, but there is no best way or one way to do it, like level 1, level 2, or level 3, whatever it is, characterization of live streaming platforms, and saying, for example, that if you're using something like StreamYard, just again, for example, or maybe Restream or some others, that's whatever number it is. I don't know if it's the lower end or the higher end, level 3 type streaming. Fact of the matter is, StreamYard, for example, and it's what I use, and so I'm certainly biased in one sense, but I believe that I can produce, and I know my StreamYard friends out there believe the same thing. I can produce some amazing live streams with StreamYard, a tool that sits on the internet. I don't have to have, necessarily this amazing computer and all these things, and all those things are okay, but I can absolutely produce an amazing live stream with StreamYard or other web-based tools. Those that have moved on to, in essence, OBS clones that have been commercialized, those are great tools. I actually can't wait in some cases to use some of those things. There's one that I have my eyes on, be honest, that runs on a Mac. That's all I'll say. I do want to experiment with it, but someone like Sean Cannell, for example, who has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, that is a measure of success, by the way, for those that are looking to get to that level in that way. So he uses StreamYard, loves it. And there are people that actually kind of laugh at StreamYard that are much, much smaller than Sean Cannell, for example, with regards to revenue, audience, YouTube site, all the measures that you would look at. So who's right? I'll just say it that way. I honestly don't care. And I think that should be the approach. There are pros or cons to a StreamYard versus a vMix versus an Ecamm Live versus a BeLive versus a Restream versus OBS versus Streamlabs. You do you, just like I said at the beginning. You use what works for you. If someone's going to ask my opinion of a tool, of a service, of a product, if they're going to ask me directly, I'll certainly give them my opinion. My approach is to learn to use to the best of my ability the tools that I have at my disposal. And I geek out big time over that. It's honestly just like the A10 Mini in many cases, which I use. I have an A10 Mini Pro, gets a bad rap because people don't understand it. And sometimes it's because people can't afford it, and I get that, and it's perfectly fine. But to try to make people think, for example, that it's not a very helpful tool in my mind, and people aren't going to like this, but that's just simply foolish, because it really just depends. Depends on who you are, what you want to do, and that's true with a bunch of other things. But it's interesting to me that so many people seem to want to dog on the A10 Mini, for example, for one reason or another. I've been asked at times, are you a Blackmagic Design employee? Not in the least. They don't even know who I am, I'm sure. But I have found that piece of kit works really, really well the way I want to work with my workflow and the way that works best for me. But I would never say it's absolutely what you need in your live stream. If you want to do certain things and then you ask, how can I do this? I'm going to answer in many cases that question in the context of what I know has been very, very successful for me, because then I have personal, I have the ability to reference that, if you will, personally. I know that it definitely works. And that's not to say to the exclusion of other solutions. I'm pretty active, not as active as some, but I'm pretty active in the StreamYard community, and I answer the same question many times over and over again, and it's normally pretty consistent. And one example is, how do I play a pre-recorded video using StreamYard, or when I'm using StreamYard? Of course, StreamYard has recently come out with a great feature, which I just used 2 weekends ago, to play a pre-recorded video that you upload to the system, and now that can be a little bit longer, I think, and a little bit bigger, so that's great. They've also added the capability where you can play a video of any size, any length from your computer. I still prefer to use, let's say, VLC, or another. I use the Windows-based laptops, so I prefer to use VLC or some other kind of media player. And then with the ATEM Mini, I can bring that in and play it. And I love that. It's my preferred approach. It's not the right approach. It's not the only approach. It's the approach that I prefer and like, and I'm going to recommend it, honestly. And so that doesn't make my live stream production better than yours. It doesn't mean it, again, like I said, it's the only way to do it, but I am going to come across as being confident in my workflow because I know it works. So I hope you understand that. Hopefully my friends out there in the StreamYard community maybe can now better understand my approach. Again, and one other one I'll use an example. There's constantly people are asking not only how can I play a pre-recorded video in my live stream, but how can I play an audio file either in the background while I'm live streaming or queued up and I want to do it again. For me, the same answer is, and I'm going to actually show you briefly here in just a minute, not the full thing, but how I do that. I use BitFocus Companion. It's a free software that allows you to basically program macros for the ATEM Mini and other things like VLC. Those are the ones that I use most, but you can also use that to program and run a Stream Deck if you have a Stream Deck, but it comes with an emulator, which is what I'm about to show you. So a Stream Deck is one of my next additions to my workflow, but here's the thing about that as well. You can't hardly find one. If you want a Stream Deck XL from Elgato, you can't find it on Amazon. Well, you can find it, but they're price gouging those, not Amazon, but the third-party sellers. You can't find it on BH Photo. You can't find it on Adorama. DVE Store doesn't even sell that. Best Buy, it's back ordered. It's back ordered everywhere I looked at a reputable, or what would be considered a reputable place to buy it, except for the actual manufacturer, Corsair, I think it is, and I think that's a Elgato company. Either Corsair, either Elgato is a division, if you will, of Corsair, or Corsair, however it's said, is a division of Elgato, one or the other. But if you just look up not Blackmagic, but if you just look up Stream Deck XL in Google, you'll find the place, the company that actually makes it. The Stream Deck XL from them is $245. I get nothing for telling you this, but I think it's a cool device if you want to make your live stream easier. In some cases, it doesn't work directly yet with StreamYard, so I do want you to know that. But again, for my workflow, having the ATEM Mini, I am able to basically use an emulator of the Stream Deck to do certain things like turn on picture-in-picture, to start a audio file, to start a video. I can have that on a second computer or literally a DVD player, anything that I can bring in through HDMI. So I'm going to show you for a second, but you can emulate a Stream Deck until you decide to get one. Maybe you never get one. Maybe you just use the emulator. I like the Stream Deck because of the tactile features, because you can have an action that happens when you push it down, another action when you push that same button again. So you get two actions out of the same button, kind of like an on-off, like picture-in-picture on, picture-in-picture off, for example, fade to black, come back from fade to black. That could be on one button, for example. So let me show you the screen here. First going to turn on picture-in-picture. Okay, so what you see here, this happens to be a second computer that's over to my right. And as you can see here, if you're familiar with the Stream Deck and if you've ever seen a Stream Deck, you can see that this is basically a web. I've just got a web address pulled up in a browser, and these play buttons that you see, for example, I don't actually have VLC up right now, but I could start VLC. I could pause VLC with this. If I had a playlist up, which I don't, those would be down here the way that I have it set up right now. So I've got one demo that I've done in the past where I have a playlist from VLC of 3 different songs, or 2 songs in a video, or 2 videos in a song, or all videos, all songs, any combination thereof. And I can click right on that particular media piece, if you will, from the playlist and start it. And I can pause it and I can start it, all the things. And also, as you can see here, I've got fade to black, for example, on or off. I can actually hit that and you'll notice that I faded to black. Now I'm back on. Hit that again. I can also move my picture-in-picture around. Right now I'm moved up there, bottom right, bottom left, top right, for example, top left. I want to be back down to the back right. And I can also say I want that picture-in-picture to be larger. I can also turn on an overlay, for example. And yes, I'm having to look away right now because of where I have it positioned. That's not optimal, but this goes right back to again, Dan Courier's quote, and I do want to add a little bit more to it now that it's coming to my mind, is, the fact that, yeah, I'm having to look away in this type of stuff, but I truly believe, and I've said this before, that when you're live streaming, you get grace that you may or may not get when you do a pre-recorded video where there's the expectation that you've, done the right edits, that you've added the right music to it, all those kinds of things. And that takes more time, for one. It removes the element of the community that you can build, the connection that you can build through live streaming. And again, since there's a higher expectation there, you end up spending more time on basically the same content. So I actually like live streams better, because I can be in the moment to a certain extent. I can still prepare ahead of time and know what I'm going to talk about. And I don't have to edit this video if I don't want to later. Now, some will go edit the video, remove the front piece of it, depending on how that run of show goes. There's several things they may edit. Knock yourself out if you want to do that. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying I don't believe that it's necessary. It really depends on what you want to do, and your own thoughts around that. So this is a combination of StreamYard, again, which I love. You can get StreamYard for free. If you look down here, strammel.info/StreamYard, you can stream for 20 hours a month for free, up to 2 destinations. So you could go live on YouTube and Twitch, for example, or YouTube and Facebook, or 2 different Facebook destinations. It's destinations, so that can be any social media platform that StreamYard supports, and they support all of the major ones, or literally any other destination where there's an RTMP server and stream key. So D Live, for example. So we're live on D Live tonight. That's a new one that we've added. You do that through having a RTMP server and stream key. Amazon Live, the same. LinkedIn, not that way. Actually, LinkedIn is direct if you get if you get approved. So, yeah. So, Penjarin, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'm really sorry. But hey, welcome. Hello back. Glad you've joined us tonight. If you're a streamer yourself, I'd love to hear if you are, what you use. If you're not live streaming and would like to, I'd love to hear that as well. If you're not streaming yet, I highly encourage you. This leads me right into what I say every night at some point before I shut down the stream, is I encourage you to create your own YouTube channel if you don't have one, to begin to create videos, whether those are live or pre-recorded. It gets easier over time, right? I'm now 79 days into this straight. The first several were very, very difficult. I would literally sit in my chair and deep breathe and just squirm and all kinds of things before I would finally hit live. I don't do that for the most part anymore, unless I've got a topic that's kind of fresh or new, if you will, to me, and I'm still thinking in my mind how I'm going to do it. But I hit that live button much quicker than I did on day 1, up to day 10, probably even up to day 20. So it's much easier now. And yeah, Panjaran, I'm sorry again, but from Indonesia, welcome from Indonesia. I'm wondering what time it is that you're up pretty early, I think it would be, or up late. I don't know which one, but thanks again for being a part of this. I hope you have subscribed and turned on notifications. If you haven't, please do. One other thing I want to share before we shut this down for the night is our playlist. So I have a playlist, strammel.info/100 days. That's basically just a short link to the playlist on YouTube where you can go watch all 79 episodes. It's 78 until I end this and then add this episode into the playlist. But episode 79 will be in there too when we end, and be amazing if you just would start that, let it play in the background, watch it, listen to it. We're working towards 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours so we can be a part of the YouTube Partner Program. So if you're just getting started with YouTube yourself, might be helpful to know. If you want to be quote unquote monetized, then you need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. The majority of your content, not necessarily all of it, but the majority of your content needs to be original content. In other words, your own videos, or if you're using other people, parts of other videos, it needs to be where you're being an editorial or editing your comments, if you will, right? An editorial style, I should say, video where you're adding commentary, analyzing a game, for example, maybe, or analyzing, commenting on someone's speech, that type of thing. I built a YouTube channel to almost 6,000 with curated content, and I knew what I was doing. I was doing it to consolidate and bring all the best information to my audience that was building a network marketing business, for example, many of them, or wanting to know about products in that network marketing space. So I was not able to monetize that, and I'm perfectly fine with that. That wasn't the main intent for that channel. I actually never believed or imagined that it would get to get up to 6,000. So for me, that was actually a pretty cool achievement. And then when I realized, hey, I do want to have the option at least to monetize my videos, then I decided to create a personal brand YouTube channel, and that's where we're at right now. That's where you're at if you're watching on YouTube. Shane Trammel. So that's youtube.com/Shane Trammel. And yeah, we're just getting started, honestly. We're at around, we've kind of stopped at around 376 subscribers. It's been at that number for a few weeks. I'm perfectly okay with that. Don't lose any sleep over it. I put every ounce of effort I can into this, but it's not what I do full time. So it has to be what it is for now. I think I actually can help others that even have more time to grow their YouTube channel. That's why I talk about YouTube, digital marketing, all the things so much, because I've certainly read a lot, watched tons of YouTube videos, hours and hours of videos, not only for knowledge, but as a form of analyzing and learning what seems to or tends to work and what doesn't. And again, back to really earlier, I want to say one more time that I think it's a question of what season are you in as a creator if you decide to go down that path. And again, you get to decide, not someone else. If for a season you produce videos that produce quote unquote results, but aren't really what you want to do. Again, bottom line, people every day do things that they don't want to do because there's a goal that they're trying to achieve. And that is in their mind, the best way to achieve that goal. They're no less of a person. I would not diminish in any way what they're doing. They're making a personal decision to do that, and they can stop at any point they want, redirect, and do only produce videos that they want to produce. Just realize that it may or may not be what your audience wants, and you'll just have to adapt or produce videos for you if you want to. Now, you will have heard me say and others say, and I agree to this as well, that again, if you're trying to gain an audience, if you're trying to influence and impact and then drive income, you are going to have to, at the end of the day, in whatever form works for you and is natural for you, provide something of value to your audience, right? They're not going to just come to hear you talk. You've got to provide value. That could be entertainment value. Value, again, is defined by the person consuming your content. Actually, you don't even get to determine what's valuable. You get to share what you are confident you know about, that type of thing, if you're sharing knowledge, and then it's going to be valuable to some and invaluable to others. And the ones that don't value what you're sharing will be the ones that don't hang around, and that's perfectly fine. So keep pushing on, keep producing. I would say remain as consistent as you can. Stay true to who you are. Do your best to be natural instead of trying to copy others, which that is common and understandable and a natural tendency, I think, at times. But again, if you can just punch fear in the face, as Sean Cannell says, and hit record or hit the live button, I think you'll find over time, number one, you become more comfortable. You realize that people are not going to stone you or give you thumbs down just because you said like I just said, or if you said or if you said like a bunch, or if you wiggle a little bit like I guess tend to do at times. Just be willing to learn and grow and evaluate what you're doing. Maybe ask others to give you friendly criticism and take what you believe is helpful and let the rest just move on behind. So anyway, I want to encourage you as well, if you're looking to have the ability to communicate with an audience that you have or an audience that you want to build. I also suggest that you go beyond using traditional social media and build an email list. start growing that list, using it, communicating with your audience, providing direct value, and not being so dependent on an algorithm from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even YouTube for that matter, Twitch, any number of platforms, TikTok, Clubhouse, whatever the next one is. With an email list, you can go directly to your audience. You can share your message directly. And if they choose to open it, they're going to get to read what you have to share with them. Whereas Facebook, by example, I think they say 2 to 6% reach is normal when you're talking about organic. And so email list, every respectable expert out there tells you that you need to do that alongside of using social media. And beyond that, I would also say I've got a link in the description for a way to get 1 million followers for free. It's technically not free because you have to pay for shipping and handling. $9.95 I think it is, but that's a great book. Brendan Kane tells you how you can grow organically, as well as how you can grow by using paid ads. And I think that's a very viable solution. He grew to, I think, 1 million followers with about $10,000. And I guarantee you with a million followers, even with 2 to 6% reach, you can, generate a sizable income if that's your desire through whatever it is, the product or service that you might have. How many in Trammel, brother? I'm sorry, I don't fully understand what you're trying to say there, but thanks for the comment. If you want to try to clarify, I'll try to answer. But yeah, that's really what we have to share tonight. I can't believe we've been going live for 47 minutes. Tomorrow night's episode 80. That's pretty cool. That means after that, we're only 20 away from going live 100 days straight. We are going to, again, as I said, go for at least 102. If you want us to go longer than 102 days straight, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay, let me know. And not only that, let me know what you'd like to hear me talk about. I've got a number of interest, a number of things that I'm always learning more about, whether that's business operations, business marketing, digital marketing, live streaming, technology in general. I'm getting more and more interested in investing in cryptocurrency and the stock market. I was a finance major, that's been 30 years ago now, but finance, investment, real estate, all those kind of things have always interested me, interest me. And so I've been out of the game with the stock market, equities, that type of thing for many years, getting back into it. So we will also be sharing some of our thoughts in that space. But let me know what else you would like to hear about. I'll put the playlist up here as well if you're on YouTube, and also will be a video should show up right here somewhere. I think a video that is recommended to you. Would love it if you'd watch that. Would love it if you'd come back tomorrow night for episode 80 and for the next 20 nights. When we wrap up the official 100 days, we'll go 2 more, as I said, at least, because we're a part of the StreamYard challenge. Go check out StreamYard. Get signed up for free. It's a forever free plan, right? There are a lot of these software tools, especially cloud-based tools, where you can get a trial, 14-day trial, 30-day trial, and then at the end of that, it's over. And then, you either have to decide to go with one of their paid plans or not use it. With StreamYard, that's not the case. With ConvertKit, that's not the case. With TubeBuddy, that's not the case as well. So if you're going to start a YouTube channel or you have one and you're not doing much with regards to optimizing your channel in general, or optimizing a particular video for quote unquote performance, if that's something you want to do and care about, TubeBuddy is your tool. That's strammel.info/TubeBuddy, or in the description you'll see that link. Go check that out as well. So we will be back again tomorrow. You have a great one. All right, bye.